Hello everyone, in today's video let's talk about the tips on how to fast. Okay, number one, you must make sure that fastings they differ, of course, as you already know, and sometimes you can be trapped in a situation where you feel like you have to do this type of fast strictly and nothing else, and if you don't do this, it's the same as not fasting. But knowing so well that you cannot be able to achieve that fasting, maybe you want to go on a 40 days dry fasting. You realize you wake up and you go to work and you are too busy. When you're at work, you carry stuff or you do things, you'll be walking around. Those are the things which will come into your mind, for instance, and those things, they will make you realize that perhaps that fasting could be too big for you. So how do you do it? What can you do? Number one thing is this: when you feel like you need to fast and you are burning inside, you realize this can work if I fast. I feel being led to fast. You must sit down, meditate, pray about it, and ask the Lord, and listen to your body and listen to the Spirit, because that's what I personally also do. What kind of a fasting that if I do, at the end of the day, I will feel that I am indeed fasting. Sometimes I can look at it, I'm like, when I'm eating, maybe later on the day, I feel like it will be same when this is nothing. You get what I'm saying? It all differs. So sometimes in your standards, according to how God is leading you, you will feel led, and you will feel led in a manner where God says, do this type of fasting. For example, I was once led into doing a 40 days fasting. But then noticing how busy I was back then when I was still at school, I knew that it will be too much for me. And that's when I went before the Lord. I'm like, okay, how do I make sure I am able to pull this fasting through? That is when I got revealed to me that no, remember that when you are drinking and you are drinking even tea, you can stir up some sugar. It gives you enough strength. You are able to function. You are able to walk. So that is enough. You know that you can live. And that is when I knew that I could do a fasting that I am drinking strictly. That's it. So that is how I did that fasting. Okay. And secondly, make it a point that when you are fasting, you know your health. You know what you can do and what you cannot do. And if you know that strictly, there are things probably you know how you know that 3 days to you is nothing. Even I, at times, I knew that I would be able to attend classes and do many things. I am not writing exams or tests, so I would know so well that I can do a 3 days dry fasting, no problem. I don't have health issues. So those are the things that you must consider first, okay? And thirdly is this: you must sit down. You must make sure that anything that is a distraction, you put aside. Of course, there are things that by default, your flesh, your body will remove on its own. For example, there are a lot of things that you will feel like, maybe for example, watching TV. When you are fasting and you are feeling weak, you won't even pay attention by default, but your inner man will be up there. So there are those things that your body on its own will begin to be distracted of. Social media, when you see posts, you're no longer interested. That is how fasting that humbles the flesh. So even on your side, when you are fasting, it is good also not to depend on your flesh, that by default I will start losing interest, and next thing you're going to stores where there are food and all these things. What you need to do is to know that now that I'm fasting for this next 3 days or 7 days or 21 days or even the whole month, I'm not going on social media, or maybe I will only go when I'm responding to an important text. But if you want to delete an app, you can delete it aside. That is how you discipline anything that you know that as you are becomes a distraction. You must plan it before you begin your fast. That okay, for this entire month, I am not watching any series on TV. I'm not watching any type of this stuff. I'm only watching Christian related things, only listening to Christian songs. You prepare everything like that, and you toss aside anything that can be a distraction in whatever form or shape. and then you go on with your fasting. And the fourth one is anything. I kind of mentioned it on the third one, right? But then anything that can tempt you into eating, put it aside. Unless if of course you are way too confident, you have done it before several times, you know that you cannot. But it is important to know that wherever you are, you don't stay with people who are eating. You don't go to places where McDonald's, for example. You avoid those places which can tempt you, because the moment you smell, the hunger will come. Next thing you are, because one of the things that also can disrupt your fasting, it could be when you are spending so much time outside with people who are eating, and you are traveling. A lot of things can happen, and you will get out of the spirit, and then at some point you'll just feel like, maybe I should just eat, I feel like I'm lazy to continue with this fast. That is the thing that can happen when you are fasting, So when you keep yourself in the place where you are in worship, you are in prayer, it's like you keep the momentum going like that. Meaning anything that you do, you are getting more and more encouraged by the day. Whereas if you are to get out of the spirit for a moment, you go to the flesh, you're with people who are cursing, you are with people who are saying worldly things, it will also pull you out of the spirit. You become fleshly, and you just feel like, maybe I'm just overstressing myself. Do I even have to fast? That is how the devil can come. So avoid any form of a temptation, okay? And the fifth one is, make sure you check on the type of fasting that you can personally handle. I kind of mentioned this before, but this is important in a manner where there are some fastings that you can do, but given that you know that this I can do and this is how I'm going to do it, it is important. Don't start before you consult. Don't start before you know that God has given you the ability, you know that your body can handle it, okay? God will lead you into a fasting that He knows you can pull it through. Like mine, I told you that mine, I knew that there was no need to eat food altogether, because I can handle drinking alone perfectly well. I've done it before, and I know I can do it more. So make sure you check all those things, okay? And the sixth one is, make sure you don't fast while you are also indulging in anything else that is fleshly. Maybe you are cursing, or maybe you are sleeping around, or maybe you are doing anything that is sinful, because that will nullify your fast. You must be in a holy place where during all that period of fasting. Don't be fighting people verbally. Try harder to stay in the presence of God, to be as holy as possible. Study the word, and that's what gonna result in your fasting being effective. And so those are the tips of how to fast. And the days, it depends on you and God. But as long as when you are done, you will say, wow, I am proud I pulled it through. Yes, I was fasting. Unlike maybe you make a fast that does not even feel like a fasting to a fast that is led by God. You will feel it that I'm fasting. You will feel that I missed eating. You will feel it that I missed doing this and this. Even if it's a fasting where you fast from social media alone, that can be a fasting. Just be sure which fasting God wants you to do, okay? And finally, the bonus one is, make it a point that you are praying. Don't neglect to pray. Don't fast and be quiet and be sleeping on. Be praying. Say what you need. Worship the Lord. And when you're done, even matters which you never knew that you needed to pray for will sort themselves out because of your fasting. May the Lord help you, and I will see you next time. Stay blessed.